Okay, next question, please. Gentleman over there.
Is vessels your invention? Is a word that many other potters use vessels? Is that your invention? Is one question. And can one speak early on of influences on your work, the way you can say that Cézanne influenced Picasso and Cubism?
Vessels, yes. Is that the first question? Vessels. Vessels, absolutely. Vessels all the way. And vessels forever. And influences. Influences. Well, I today, you could get Wallace Stevens, Emily Dickinson for fragments and spaces, Alban Berg, a lot of that happening in the studio at the moment for music. You could get Schindler in terms of architecture, and late Mies van der Rohe because he's so difficult. You can get Korean pots more and more and more and more. More and more and more. And you can get very, very, very early Meissen. The bits of Meissen before they became bourgeois and gold and full of flowers and maidens, the bit when they couldn't do it right and tried to patch it up. And is that enough?
I think that's...
I could go on.
Just another couple of questions, quick ones. I'm afraid right at the back over there. If you can just wait till the microphone comes, please.
You talked earlier of text and the errata and the delete and the mistakes and trying to get back to original thought. How do you value that against technology now that allows for cut and paste and just simple delete? What happens to original thought?
I think that I don't know, in terms of the kind of archiving of texts, it's going to be very problematic if all you get is a printed object, and you have none of the extraordinary depth of iteration and reiteration that goes on in real writing, because it's all vanished into some hard drive somewhere and inaccessible. I'm lucky, of course, in that what I do is a combination of making and writing the whole time. So there's an awful lot of errata out there. And increasingly what I seem to be doing is when I've finished something grand, like that piece in Margate, which seems to have no hinterland at all and just be hanging in space in some perfect Chipperfield way, is that I bagsed a wall. I took a wall over and put all my footnotes on the wall and put all my errata and my poems and my texts and scruffed up a nice gallery wall. And perhaps that's the way to do it, that we should all be claiming the chance to scribble where we can.
Nice idea. Time for one last question, which we don't have to have, but if anybody's burning.
The lady in this polka dots had her hand up earlier.
I'm sorry, somebody in the middle?
I think this lady in the polka dots had her hand up very first of all, so I think she merits it.
Yes, I did. I don't quite answer the question. When you talk about loss and that things being out of reach, I felt that a lot when I was looking at your work that you showed in New York, that there were those beautiful shelves, and things were very precisely arranged on them, all those lovely pots. But each one was so individual and so wanted to be held. But because they've been so carefully thought through, you felt like you shouldn't disturb them. What do the people who bought those things do? Do they handle them? Do you encourage them? What happens?
I'm not nearly grand enough to know the people who now buy my work. So I'm not at liberty to... when I find someone, I'll ask them. all I know is that, genuinely, it's a genuine response to that, is that just because they're not moving around doesn't mean that they're not moving around. That the thinking is still completely open and present. So in fact, when you see something like that, it's more like a John Cage score. It's more like the start of something, not a finished piece. And you look at it, and I hope you see movement and time and choreography and movement and me moving around a studio and words coming in and music going out. And actually, you might not be able to pick them up and move them all around, but actually, it's the beginning of something. It's a score.
But you want to pick them up because each one has got that little individual mark.
Buy one. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much again, Edmund de Waal. I think that's a lovely note to end on, not least because we do have some copies of the book for sale outside, and Edmund will be happy to sign them. Edmund is, I think, probably one of the most eloquent, elusive, suggestive, descriptive, all those wonderful things when you come to a talk by Edmund de Waal and you see, first of all, the work which looks so amazing, small, large, in every possible way, but is so fantastically enhanced by hearing you talk about it and not quite describe it because you're never as literal as that, but just move around it. And I think it's always a real pleasure and privilege to have that. I wanted to thank Edmund particularly because he is such a very good friend to the V&As. As you know, he's done this magisterial piece near the entrance hall. He is also on our board of trustees and he's much, much too busy to come and give talks here, but he always does. So I'm really, really grateful. And I'm very grateful to Alan as well for interviewing him so beautifully. So please do stay, look at the book, and thank you very much.